Hi, welcome to Mindful Conversations. My name is Greg Dwyer. My guest today is a friend of mine. His name is Steve Schappert. He's the Connecticut real estate broker. Steve, thanks for being on Mindful Conversations After Hours.
Great to be here. Thanks, Greg.
So you got a lot of things going on. You just moved to Litchfield. You just opened an office. What's going on with you?
Connecticut real estate. Actually trying to make it less stuff going on. So I was a contractor and a real estate broker, and I've closed the contracting business down because I've kind of learned that, if you find something that you do well, focus.
You can't do everything.
Right. Just get in there, jump in, focus on it, and just keep doing it 1,000 times a day.
Now, before you got into this, you were a buyer's broker, and I met you like 20 years ago.
Correct.
What is the unique selling proposition of a buyer's broker?
Buyer's broker only represents the buyer.
Okay.
So it was nice. It worked out well for me back in the day. Opened it in '96, and I looked out over the horizon and I go, 1,800 realtors in the greater Danbury area, and I'm the new guy. What am I going to do that's different?
So like a unique selling proposition is what you had.
Exactly.
That's how I found you, because I thought, you're only going to represent me, you're not going to represent the seller, there's no conflict of interest. In fact, I remember hearing years ago that phrase, buyer beware, comes from the real estate industry, because you got two realtors, and they're going to help you buy a house, but they're also looking for commission, and they're going to be going out to lunch and talking about how much they can sell the house for.
Correct.
Yeah. So it seems like a conflict of interest. How were you able to lay that to rest when you left being a buyer's broker and now you're a broker and you have a team of people?
Got back into the business and I kind of looked out over the horizon and I dealt with clients and they didn't care. The world's kind of changed and Zillow rules it. So people would go, hey, I was on Zillow, I found this house and your name was next to it. That's why I'm calling you.
Right.
And I had like my first client that I met him at a house and I said, okay, exclusive right to represent, you should sign it.
Right.
But at the first, substantial meeting, I'm going to call these first 3 houses our first meeting.
Okay.
So first house, here's the agreement, read it, we'll look at it, and at the end of the third house, I'm going to ask you to sign it, either for the day or for longer. And I showed them the 3 houses, and after the 3 houses, I didn't even get to ask them. They just took the form, threw it on the hood of my truck, and said, where do we sign?
Well, they also liked you.
That was the key part.
Right.
I said, do you know anything about me?
Well,
they said,
go ahead.
You're funny.
Well, was it your grandfather that said this about the pearl of wisdom?
It was my Uncle Jim.
Your Uncle Jim, okay.
So 14 years old.
Right.
I'm painting their bedroom.
Yeah.
I finished it. I turned to Uncle Jim. I go,
Pearl of wisdom.
What,
Yeah.
Give me something. You're a successful contractor.
Right.
What do you think? And he goes, people buy from you because they like you.
Like you.
Don't ever forget it.
That's right.
And I've never forgotten it.
Yeah, and we met you, we talked to you, I know you've been successful, and I also know that you know what you're talking about. I mean, a lot of people that get into real estate, they might be doing something else, which is fine. I know a lot of people that are moonlighting, but this is your life.
It's contracting in real estate has been my life. I mean, I've worked as a marketing consultant as well, and that's kind of what I do, as a contractor and a broker. I'm always marketing myself.
Well, you're an expert. You're an expert in marketing. I mean,
correct.
You were on my show down in Litchfield, and I think we put it on Facebook and YouTube, and I think you got 3,000 hits in a week.
Right.
And you're able to talk about the philosophy of what you're able to do with keywords and how you set this platform up so that everybody looks at your website. I think it's amazing.
Well, it's a little long and drawn out, but let's see if we can dive into it a little short. Be the ball.
Be the ball. Now, when you told me that, I'm thinking, what are you talking about, be the ball?
I know. So
what?
Be the ball. You want to be what they're looking for.
Right.
So if the name of your company is your name.
Like Greg Dwyer, who cares?
Right. And who cares?
Nobody cares.
Okay. I like you,
I like you.
Whatever.
But I'm not going to type in Greg Dwyer.
But somebody in California will never type your name in. They'll never find you in a search.
Right.
You need to be the Connecticut motivational speaker because that's what they're typing in.
And that's why they find you, Connecticut real estate. If they're sitting in Connecticut and they open their computer and they type in real estate, Are they going to find you, Steve Schappert?
Yes.
Okay, they are.
And they're finding me more and more, because like the biggest thing is, okay, Connecticut real estate, only a year old. So Google first looks at your website and go, only a year, okay, still a baby. We like you to be in business 3 years because we like the longevity, that makes sense. But the bottom line with Google is somebody is searching for something. They're typing it in, and it's usually location and product is how people find stuff.
So be that.
So be that.
Okay.
Be the product, be the location.
But most people don't get that. Like if they're a motivational speaker, they will put in,
Thankfully.
yeah, right? So you know, we almost shouldn't have said this. You know what I mean? But to help people out, be that thing that people are looking for.
Correct.
Because you're not Pepsi, you're not McDonald's, you're not Coca-Cola. I mean, those are brands.
Most importantly, you're not IBM.
You're not, oh.
And that's the trap everybody falls into. They want to shorten their name.
Right.
They think it's catchy, whatever.
Sure.
But if you name your company 3 initials, you're dead in the water.
You are. But how did you learn this?
International Business Machine.
Yeah?
You would.
Yeah.
Actually, in this day and age, you'd still never find them.
No, you
because
wouldn't.
No one's typing that in either.
Right.
But it's the fact that they've been in business for 100 years that now people go looking because of the reputation. They've
Right.
known them.
Well, here's the question I have for you. How did you develop this mindset? Because I've been in marketing for years. I didn't know this. I've listened to seminars, I've gone and, researched information. How did you develop the mindset to see this differently?
Studying.
Study, okay.
Just
All right.
continual study. Developed it because I wasn't born rich.
Okay.
Like, I didn't have tons of money to throw at marketing and waste it and figure out how to do it. Because, yeah, if you've got a ton of money,
Yeah.
it's easier to just get it out there and stuff, and you can lose a lot of money and still be successful. But if you're shoestringing it,
Yeah.
you better learn very fast.
I've met a lot of people that
And-
say they want to be a motivational speaker, they want to do this, and they say, oh, I just want to hire people to do it. I'm like, that's expensive,
Right.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
So a lot of my success comes from my depth of experience. So when I say marketing, I've been doing it a long time.
And it shows.
I was the 5-year-old kid that went door to door going, please let us shovel your sidewalk
Right.
with the purple lips. And I had the 8-year-olds behind me to do the heavy lifting. And so they would get sucked in by the little kid and they'd
Right.
say, sure. And then
Right.
they'd ask us to shovel the driveway, and I go, you're crazy, we're too small.
Yeah, sure.
Call Cy Yergi, he'll plow it for you.
That's funny.
But it's starting there, and then you're 12 years old, and now dad lets you drive the tractor around the neighborhood and mow lawns for people. You make a little bit more money. You turn 18, you buy a pickup truck, now you can go outside the neighborhood. You move to Arizona and go, nobody has a lawn out here, so
No.
you learn painting, you get
Right.
10 guys working for you.
Right.
Back to Brookfield, because your son's born, 25 painters working for you. You start doing tons of renovation work for other realtors, and then you just make the transition to becoming a real estate.
But have you always
So
been?
it's all kind of the same, because whether you're a contractor
Yeah.
or a real estate agent, people contact me
Right.
because of the contracting experience. They like the idea that I can look at a house,
Sure.
know what I'm looking at. I've got an agent buying a house. One of my agents is buying her own personal house in Brookfield this week, and she's like,
That's good.
Could you come look at it?
Right.
Like,
Oh, sure.
yes, we could hire the building inspector for the $1,000, but could you come first and
Oh,
just
yeah.
walk through?
Well,
and
you're
give
like a
us an
Sherlock Holmes. I remember you looking at a house that I was going to buy, and I was
Yeah.
amazed. I walked into the house, you looked at, and I really felt you were representing me, and you cared about me, and I do believe you do. And you looked at the house, and you said, you see this? I went, what's that? And you started explaining to me, there's been water damage here. And I'm like, you know what? If I lived a million years, I would have never figured that out. But what I was going to ask you is, what makes you so driven? I don't see that today with 18-year-olds or 20-year-olds. I don't see that drivenness. What do you think is the mindset or the motivation behind you being so driven? What is it angst? Is it to prove something? What is it that drives Steve Schappert? And I mean it sincerely.
Survival.
Survival. But you're past survival. You
Yeah.
just told me what your commission check was last month. That's more than survival,
I mean, but it's a commission check.
Right.
So it's only as good as the next one.
But see, most people want security. Most people say, look, I don't want that check, even though it's huge. I want a job that's going to give me security. But you don't want security. You're looking for something more, like, right?
So you're looking for the real depth, right?
I am.
You want me to be honest.
I do.
You want to dig down and go, what really hurts? All right.
Go ahead.
My ex and my kids have depression. Haven't spoken, well, I've tried to speak to my kids, but it's been years since they've spoken to me.
Right.
I am driven to succeed, to win a spot back in life.
Isn't that wonderful?
Everything I do
Right.
is, could I get them to talk to me?
Right. Right.
And not cry on TV.
No, that's fine. But that's your motivation. That's what you're tapping into. I think
Correct.
everybody has something. And I don't think people reflect. At least you know what it is. Because I think it's one thing to be driven and not know, hey, why am I just obsessive compulsive towards this goal? Now, I want to talk about, and I appreciate you being vulnerable. I want to talk about the fact that you shared something with me like 2 months ago, that when you were in school, you had a tragic situation and how you overcame it. I got to tell you, I was amazed. But tell that story. I think it's a wonderful story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start with the recent realization that the hardest thing to overcome was me. I was in a near-death accident. 15 years old, sideswiped a telephone pole in a Pinto. It didn't blow up.
Yeah,
this is good.
I remember those Pinto days, yeah.
But my cerebellum slammed into the telephone pole, and then my brain began to swell, so I had the traumatic injury here.
Right.
Then the swelling went up and over, so I have damage on the other side as well. So, half a brain, sure.
Is it left brain, right brain? What is it? It's not numbers.
I have a little, mostly the damage is here.
Okay.
Has a lot to do with comprehension, coordination, and I crushed my ear, so my balance was off.
But the numbers, I mean, you can look at a bunch of numbers for business and you know exactly what's going on, which is very impressive.
I wish that was true.
Oh, it's not true?
It's almost true.
It's the impression.
When you mention it relevant to my business, then yes. And it's just because it's repetition. I've been doing it over and over and over and over, and that's how I learn.
It's like 10,000 hours, right? Whatever you're going to do, 10,000 hours.
So when I learn something, I make myself repeat it over and over. Like, I didn't know how to create a website, but I was the vice chairman of economic development, and I'm like, instead of spending $9,000 on this silly magazine that we're sending out, we should spend $10 to put a website together.
Exactly.
And nobody wanted to do it. I hired somebody to help me, and then I took it over. And what I did is I learned how to do one thing: type up a page, hit the save button.
Right.
So I would type and hit save, and then I'd make another one and hit save, and then just hundreds of pages. Put pictures in. Okay, I learned it. Go back in.
Right.
Repetition.
Right.
So I learn much slower than I used to.
Okay.
In 6th grade, took the comprehension test. I scored highest in the school system. I was, high college level in 6th grade.
Right.
It's all because of Stan Lee. I read a lot of Marvel comics as a kid.
How did that help?
The words in comic books are adult level.
Okay.
So as a child, I'm reading at the adult level, but you get drawn into a Marvel comic.
Oh,
It's
sure.
a comic. You
Oh,
got
sure.
pictures.
Yeah.
It makes it easier.
Well, that's really insightful to give a kid a comic book hoping to improve their reading.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But your
Increase the
IQ,
vocabulary.
your IQ is up there. I mean, even with the injury, right? I mean, it's,
I'm still a genius, but the guidance counselor in Brookfield High said, I have to tell you, you are the only learning disabled genius I have ever met.
Wow.
Because there is a disparity.
Okay.
You get 2 IQ scores, and one's roughly right side, left side.
Yep.
But my ability to dream is way out here.
It is. Were you always that way?
Yes.
Okay, always. Okay.
My ability to follow through is more refined.
Isn't that everybody?
So like 110 for the follow-up, 147 on the creative.
Right.
So it's a little of a disparity. Been a difficulty my entire life, and it's just recently that I'm figuring out how to put a leash on myself.
What do you mean? You want to be focused and not chase like the shiny red balls?
Correct.
Is that what you mean?
I want to be the ball.
You want to be
I
the
don't
ball.
want to chase the ball.
Right, right. Because I remember calling you up and saying, look, I'm doing these speaking, gigs all over the country, and I said, I want you to, help me close. And you're like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm like, why? And you're like, I'm focused on what I want to do, and I respect that.
Right.
Yeah. So
Connecticut real estate keeps me focused.
Yeah.
I closed the construction business.
Right.
I have different divisions, but everything funnels back to Connecticut real estate. It keeps me focused, keeps me moving forward, and it's working. It's
Gotcha.
gathering a lot of attention.
And speaking of gathering, how many realtors have you brought into your fold? It's almost like
we
you're
have
starting.
11 right now,
Okay.
and we've got 3 more that should be coming on very soon.
So why do you think they leave? And I don't want to mention names, but you just think of all these other names that are out there. Why do they leave these big brokerages? You're explaining to me that when a person works for XYZ company, they're pretty much building that brand. Is it any different when they come with you? Are they just building your brand, or what is it? What's the difference?
They have the ability to build their brand from the standpoint of, I'm Connecticut Real Estate, but on Facebook, I'm Farmington, Connecticut Real Estate.
Okay, gotcha.
So Google says Farmington, Connecticut Real Estate, boom, that's them. So if I hire somebody in Farmington, they become Farmington, Connecticut Real Estate. They get to build that part of the business.
Wow, nice.
Okay.
And you're helping them with the marketing?
Correct.
Okay.
Because as a leader, you got basically like 5 big points.
Okay.
Communication.
Yes.
Passion.
Yes.
Positivity.
Yes.
Innovation and collaboration.
Teamwork.
Right?
Yeah.
So it all starts with the communication. So why are people joining me? Because
They like you.
they like me, but most importantly, because I've learned to communicate.
Right. Right. Wow.
I can be likable.
That's great.
I can have positivity. I can have innovation. I can have all those other 4, but without the ability to communicate, you're sitting in the closet by yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. You have to take a risk. You have to
Right.
leap. You have to jump.
Right. You
know.
got to get the information out there and get their attention. So you're starting with the communication. And if your communication is, hi, I'm Steve, this is kind of what I want to do.
We wouldn't be
wondering if
listening
you
to you.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even bring you
You
out.
got to get the passion, Greg. Get the passion out there.
That's
right?
wonderful. Yes, yes.
So you want to be able to communicate that you're actually in love with what you do. And you're looking for other people that love what they do.
I almost called security.
You don't love me anymore?
There's just no security here. I mean,
Right.
it's just 2 guys and 2 chairs. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. So now tell
so
me
you
this.
got the communication,
Yeah.
the passion, the positivity. It's, you just got to keep it rolling. You got the passion, you got to keep it positive and
Right.
stuff. And
Tell me the story, and I never get old with this, where the government needed your help. That's a wonderful story.
there's lots of real estate agents out there, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only secret agent
You're a secret agent.
in the state of Connecticut.
Can we talk about it?
Sure.
Okay.
I won't have to kill you.
And this is
It's
true. All of this is true.
Totally true.
Okay.
One of my clients was one of the attorney generals for the state of Connecticut. So back in the day, Nigerian bank scams were big. I was getting the emails coming in. I sent the email over as kind of a ha-ha
Right.
to my client. My client sent it over to Dick Blumenthal.
Okay.
Blumenthal sends it to the FBI, and within 24 hours, it's over at the Secret Service in New Haven.
Wow.
And Andrew and Phil are calling me saying, hey, could you help out your country? Do you mind could you just follow up with that email? And could we tap the phone in your office?
Really?
For 2 years.
Now, what did you ask them to do for you? You know what I mean? Did they do anything for you?
I got
Nothing.
Nothing.
What the bird left on the rock, right?
I had a tax issue 2 years ago.
They
I
didn't help.
tried playing the card. They're like,
No way.
no way.
Okay, so you
Forget
get
it.
involved with these guys?
So, yeah. So I followed up, and my thing that I needed to accomplish was to turn the tables on the criminals.
Right.
So Nigerian bank scam. The email says, we have $26 million. It looks like it was a relative of yours. You need to come to Nigeria and sign papers, and we can give you the money.
You didn't go there, did you?
We need you to give us your bank routing number because we're going to deposit the money into your account.
Wow.
And that's how the scam is done.
Yeah.
So it ended up with Secret Service because FBI doesn't care. Once it gets out of the country, they can't help you.
Right.
Even the Secret Service will not help you with a financial incident outside of the country.
Wow, buyer beware.
So my job as a negotiator was to follow up with them and convince them that I'm a real estate broker. We've got all kinds of deals over here. Hey, you know what? I really can't break away and, leave the company and go over there. So I would convince them to come to the United States.
So you got them to come, was it Vegas, if I remember? Vegas?
I got 3 groups to come over.
Okay.
One went to Chicago, and they had another blonde blue guy go up and meet, and they arrested that group.
Wow.
The next time was Texas, and they said, hey, would you do us a solid and fly to Texas and help, get them?
Right.
I'm like, sure. Where's my ticket?
They didn't pay?
And they said, yeah, I can't do it. I was like, well,
Are you kidding me?
No.
You had to pay your own way?
I got small children. I was like, no, I can't do it. So they got another guy to show up, and they got him.
Wow.
Third time, I got somebody to come to New York City.
Wow, that's great.
And they said, Steve, need you to carry a suitcase of cash with blue ink bomb in it into the hotel.
Are you kidding?
Hand them the suitcase, and then walk away. They're just going to walk out. We do this, before. And I was all excited. I'm like, New York City? It's an hour and 10. I'm down. Hey.
Yeah, it's fun.
This will be fun.
Yeah, weren't you afraid of being killed, though?
Story. No, they had plenty of track record saying, we've done it. No one's ever really gotten hurt.
Right.
And I was kind of like, it'll be exciting.
Wow.
They called the night before and said, we caught him.
Oh.
I'm like,
It's like the bad guys
Damn.
and the good guys. Yeah. How do folks get a hold of you? Just if they want to interview or, well, talk about this real quick. Your television show. You're doing an episode tomorrow. Give us a plug on that real quick.
Optimum Leadership Television. Okay?
Okay.
Not telling everybody that I'm the expert
Right.
on leadership.
Right.
I'm actually saying I want to learn more.
You're like Napoleon Hill.
I want to advance my game. I want to get better at it.
Wow.
Therefore, I'm going to be interviewing other leaders
Okay.
to find out the commonalities.
Right.
And the more I throw my head into the game,
Right.
the better I'll get. And by putting it on television and sharing it with others, they can learn as well.
And who was your first guest?
Who was my
Your
Greg Dwyer?
That's right.
The Connecticut motivational speaker.
So,
Yes.
how do people get a hold of you if they want to be on that show? Because I know you're just starting that show. So, get your contact information out there in case people want to reach
Simplest way to get a hold of me. I have a cell phone. It rings 203-994-3950.
you. And what about your social media? What about your website? You mentioned that.
Connecticut Real Estate .online.
Okay.
A little unusual, not a .com. It's online because what do people do? They search for Connecticut Real Estate Online.
That's
all
wonderful.
the time.
That's wonderful.
So I am what they're looking for.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm grateful for our friendship, and I mean that sincerely. When I first met you, I just knew you had the brains for business, for marketing, and real estate. And I would say if anybody wants to get a hold of you and become friends with you or do your networking events or whether they just go on your television show or follow you, I think they would be blessed, if that's the word I can use. So,
Very kind of you.
Yeah, no, I mean that sincerely.
And I feel the same about you.
Well, this
a
is
great relationship.
This is called Mindful Conversations After Hours, and we didn't script this. We just talked about this, and I thank you for your friendship, and I thank you for this conversation. So we'll be back next time. Steve Schappert is my guest today. We hope that we gave you something to think about. I'm sure we did. It's Greg Dwyer on Mindful Conversations. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Greg.